And welcome once again to another edition of Aztecs All In. It's the podcast that focuses solely on Aztec athletics at San Diego State University. Steve Perez with Lewis Weiner, and we are now just finishing up week 0, I guess, where the Aztecs pull out a win at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll have the head coach, Brady Hoke, talking about things that he liked about the win and things mostly that he did not like. Lewis Weiner will present the keys to the game, because if they do not exist, then, well, the Aztecs don't win. He also discusses the key player on offense, and we also talk about the Aztecs defense. So, Lewis, say hello to the nice people out there in podcast land, and let's get on into this thing.
Well, Steve, this game was a lot better than last year's opener, wasn't it? The weather was hot. In the sun, it was hot. And it's funny about this game because it sort of started off the same way last year's game did, with the Aztecs not showing very much offense. They got the ball first. They had Keenan Kristen had some nice runs. They kicked a field goal, and then nothing. So I got a little worried there when they couldn't move the ball very well. How about you?
Well, they were dealing with a talented team, Ohio University. I mean, they were 10-4 last season, and they had made it to the Mid-America Conference title game, and that was despite losing their talented starting quarterback, which they lost again tonight. And they did defeat the Mountain West Conference opponent, Wyoming, in a bowl game. So the Aztecs were 2.5 points coming into this thing, and they covered the spread.
Yeah, they win 20-13. And after watching the game, these are my keys to the game. This is what I think really made a big deal and why the Aztecs were able to pull this out. Opening drive, they scored some points. They didn't move the ball through the air very well, but they got 3 points, and that really set the tone. But then the offense disappeared until the end of the first half, and the Aztecs pulled out a touchdown with 0 time left. That was a ballsy move by Brady Hoke to run a play.
Ballsy? Can we say ballsy on a podcast?
Yes, we could say ballsy. For Hoke to call that play, because if that was an incomplete pass, they would not have a chance to kick a field goal. And then in the second half, Steve, I thought a key play here was Ohio came out with an opening drive that was about 8 minutes long. The Aztecs could not get them off the field. There were 3 third-down conversions, but luckily for the Aztecs, Ohio missed a field goal. So no points there. The Aztecs went 3 and out, but later, the drive of the game, Jalen Maiden, 7 for 7 for 68 yards on the drive, including 2 passes to Mark Redman, including a touchdown. And those are my keys, and I think that that drive is the one that really wrapped it up. What do you think?
Okay, well, let me get out my jingle-jangle keys and figure out what the keys were from where I'm sitting, and it is this. The Ohio Bobcats scored 3 points in the first quarter, 3 points in the second quarter, 0 points in the third quarter, and the Aztecs came up with a couple of turnovers as well to thwart drives and turn the momentum of the game around. So I think defense holding the Bobcats, which was a pretty powerful offense, to 13 points total on the night, and actually one of those touchdowns came in what you could call garbage time. But even though Brady Hoke, we're going to hear from him in a minute, was not crazy about how the defense played, I think the defense was one of the keys to this game.
I agree with you totally. I think the defense played exceptionally well. Going back to that drive, the 7 of 7 Jalen Maiden drive, after the game, I was able to ask Mark Redman about that drive and what changed about the confidence of the team during that pivotal drive.
Yeah, we just came out after the first half, and a couple guys talked in that locker room, and we knew that we really needed to change it around because our defense was doing what they did, and they held them to 13 points, and that's something that we pride ourselves in. But we wanted to show that the offense can do what they're supposed to do as well. So we were able to just go down there, and people stepped up and made some good plays, and it just ended up in a touchdown. And that's, as long as we can do that every drive, that's great for us.
So someone actually had to be throwing the ball to Mark Redman in order for him to, make those receptions and to actually catch that one touchdown. So give us a rundown on how Jalen did, Lewis.
Yeah, Jalen started the game off slowly. Much like that bowl game last year, he did not play well. It didn't start off well, but as the game progressed, he got more confidence. He ended up going 17 for 27, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and most importantly, 0 interceptions. He did not turn the ball over. He also had 10 carries for 24 yards, so he moved the ball on the ground too. So again, after a slow start, I think a very successful game for Jalen Maiden, and something he could definitely build off of.
And the Aztecs ground game picked up some steam. It opened up at the outset reasonably well, and in spots looked very good. It was just one of those situations where the offensive line has to make the holes, and if that's not happening, then it's kind of hard for the running backs to get find some open space and get out there. But toward the end of the game, they did happen to break some gains. And Jalen Armstead ended up with as the leading ball carrier for the Aztecs with 79 yards, a net 78 on 8 carries. Keenan Christian had 11 carries for 45 yards. Jalen Maiden, 24 yards total, 10 carries. Cam Davis with 1 carry for nothing, and Martin Blake made an appearance as well. What'd you make of the offensive performance from the rushing perspective, Lewis?
I thought it was successful. Armstead had that one drive where the Aztecs, they started off slow and they moved on the ground, and he had 3 or 4 really good rushes. He got hurt even. Left the game for a couple of plays and then came back. And Brady Hoke said afterwards he was thrilled that Armstead was able to get back into the game because last year he had some injury issues. Keenan Christian, he was 11 carries, 45 yards. And I just think it was a success. I'm surprised that Cam Davis only got 1 carry for 0 yards. He was in the game more often than that, but only 1 carry. So that was a bit of a surprise.
Hey, at the end of the day, scoreboard. Aztecs win 20-13 over the Howell Bobcats, and they get to go on and see if they can keep this going in the actual official first week of the NCAA campaign. And the scoring by quarters for them: 3 points in the first on the opening drive. They scored the touchdown before the end of the first half. Both teams put up goose eggs in the third, and the Aztecs were able to put 10 points on the board in the all-important fourth quarter. Did sort of compliment the defense at the beginning. Head coach Brady Hoke says they need some work.
They ran the ball up and down the field on us, and we never tackled anybody. And that, when you don't stop the run, you let them be two-dimensional. And so the play-action game, throwing the football, and they have good players. And I'll give they're a good football team. They're a physical football team. I don't think we played physical. I didn't think we played well enough defensively in the first half. And there's a lot that we need to get fixed before Idaho State. I wasn't feeling great about our defense, and they know that because I told them that, and we got work to do. We tackled better in the second half. We tackled better, and we had a discussion at halftime regarding how we should tackle. And that, is something that all the coaches, from leveraging the ball on the different run schemes, fitting the run. We had a pretty good session of this is how you tackle at halftime.
The starting quarterback for the Bobcats had to leave the game, and then they went to the backup because of a monster hit that pretty much left him reevaluating that off-season ACL and rehab. Maybe he's have to do some more about that. We'll find out as the season wears on his status. Maybe the Aztecs will have a rematch with him in a bowl game. No. Seriously, no. Don't want to see those guys again.
No, we don't want to see those guys again. They only scored 1 offensive touchdown. You could argue that touchdown shouldn't have been scored because the Aztecs had them stopped with a interception in the end zone, ran back for a touchdown, but it was called back because of roughing the passer. So only 1 offensive touchdown for Ohio. And you'd have to say that the player of the game defensively was Cody Moon. He had 11 total tackles in the game, and the Aztecs had 2 sacks. Cedarious Viesu had 1, and Cooper McDonald teamed up with Tupu Alalu for the other one. So, the Aztecs were fast on defense. Cooper McDonald had a really good game. He had 3 total tackles. So all in all, I think the defense played well.
I don't know if you look at the stat sheet for the defense. It's a team game, and they had 36 defenders see action on defense, and yes, Cody Moon ended up with 6 solo tackles. Noah Tumlin had 5 solo tackles, and said Barfield had a monster game. But on down the stat sheet, you've got other Aztecs playing and making tackles on their own, or as part of a gang, because that's pretty much how the Aztecs roll. And they did produce 3 turnovers. It should have been, and Cedarious Barfield, had one that was taken away because he had the interception. It looked like a pick six. Looked like the game was all over, and then it gets called back, and he was asked later, how he bounced back from that.
Marcus made a great play, but I know you said hard, but I feel as though Coach Hoke put us in that situation during scrimmages and fall camp. It's situational. We'll make a play on defense, and then we think we're off, but then he'll say, you know what, one's back up again. So, it's something that we prepare for. So right when that happened, we knew that we're not going to have all the calls going our way and stuff like that. So we knew we had to line up and just stop them again. First off, with the turnover margin, Coach Hoke made that a big emphasis. That's why they were very good. They made it to the championship and all that. And hats off to them. They played a physical game. They were still in the game and stuff like that. 7 did go down, and 10 came up, into the game and still, held it down for them. But going back to that, I felt as though it was just a great play call. Coach Maddox always puts us in the best position to, succeed and stuff like that. And that's just kind of what happened. So he puts us in the position, and we just have to make the plays.
Obviously, said Barfield had a great game, bounced back quickly. They gave up the garbage touchdown at the end, but the Aztecs, again, with the game on sort of on the line, they had to make a defensive stop, and they did with a turnover.
They did, but once again, a little too close for comfort. Brady Hoke goes for it on 4th down late, and Ohio gets the ball back, and you never know what can happen late when a team gets the ball back. Less than a minute, crazy things can happen. But the Aztecs were able to hang on 20-13 despite being outgained. Total yards, Ohio 380 to the Aztecs 309. And time of possession, at one point early in the second half, Ohio had more than a 12-minute difference of time of possession compared to the Aztecs. But the Aztecs, with a long drive that Jalen Maiden, where he went 7 for 7, were able to pull that back. So total time of possession, 32-30 for Ohio and about 27.5 for the Aztecs.
Right. Brady Hoke addressed that in the news conference. And do I have that clip? I might have it.
I think they played better in the second half, okay? And I think the first drive in the first half, I thought they got themselves together and they were playing well. And then we kind of lost it there. And then I think at halftime, obviously, as coaches, you adjust a little bit in what you're doing. And then also it's a time for mental reflections as a player to make sure they understand what they're doing.
And then also, I was looking at, little things in a game. And one of the little things I was looking at is just untimely penalties. The Aztecs, they'll call that a push because Ohio had 6 penalties for 54 yards. The Aztecs came with 6 penalties for 57 yards. None of them appeared to have a direct... Actually, the Ohio penalty turned out to be pretty costly for them when they had the roughing the passer play on the last drive before the end of going into halftime. That prolonged the drive, gave the Aztecs an extra 10 yards, and got them close enough to allow them to score that touchdown to Mark Redman.
Yeah, and of course there's the roughing the passer call on Cody Moon that really allowed the Aztecs, that allowed Ohio to score that touchdown, their only touchdown of the game.
Yeah, it was one of those, I don't know, we'll have to take a I don't know. You saw that. I was looking at it from down on the field from my vantage point. It looked like one of those that it looked like he got him just as the ball was being released, and if anything, maybe they got on him for coming up a little bit too high. But otherwise, a bang play. I don't think you can fault Cody Moon for being aggressive on that.
No, I don't think so either. And of course, the fans all thought it was a bogus call, especially with a touchdown return called back. So, those things happen. That's football.
Yeah, the fans always do. And, the Bobcats, they have been picked to win the East Division in the Mid-America Conference in a preseason football poll. So, amongst the coaches. So, the Aztecs got a win against a tough opponent, and they have Idaho State Vandals coming up.
The Vandals on Saturday right here at home at Snapdragon. The Aztecs are home a lot early in the season. So, it's fun to come out, and hopefully they could, next week, they can improve upon what they did today.
That's right. It's all about building. And I think Brady Hoke did mention that in the post-game news conference where he talked about the biggest improvement that he sees in teams historically is between the first and the second game. So if that's the case, maybe the Vandals are going to be up against it.
Yeah, I think San Diego State will be favored again against Idaho State, and hopefully they could pull out a win and go 2-0.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that. Before we sign off tonight, I do want to note the passing of Byron Schumann, who I won, if I had not read the obituary by Don Maffey in the Union Tribune last Sunday, would not have known that he had passed away. He was a graduate of Mar Vista High School, Southwestern College. He was a member of the USA men's volleyball team. He died the night that storm came in, and he was a member of the Aztecs' only national championship team with star Duncan McFarlane in the volleyball team in 1973. That's the Aztecs' only national champion in any sport. He also founded a volleyball club known as the Starlings and helped change a lot of lives that way. So inducted into the Southern California Indoor Volleyball Hall of Fame in 2018, leaves his son Blake 2 grandchildren. And so a Royal Aztec send-off to a great Aztec.
Absolutely. Our deepest condolences to his family. And that'll do it for this first post-game edition of Aztecs All In. Please follow and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can reach us at aztecsallin@gmail.com. And please follow us on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Aztecs_all_in. That's it for now. For Steve Perez, I'm Louis Weiner saying thanks for listening. Aztecs win 20-13.